Hello everybody, welcome to Ash's Tarot. I am Ash, and in today's video we are going to be looking at the messages your inner child has for you. So for those of you who don't know, your inner child is that childlike aspect you carry with yourself, right? And sometimes this could be our subconscious habits or our greatest wounds, deepest desires. But today we're really just going to be focusing on how does your inner child feel, and then what you can do to sort of start the healing process of that inner child. So we're first going to start with a quick meditation, just so you can have time to choose the pile that you would like. If you already know what pile you're interested in and that you want to choose, go ahead, skip to the timestamp down below. But for those of you who don't, this is pile number 1 with the yellow candle, pile number 2, and pile number 3. We're just going to do a quick 1-minute meditation and then we'll jump right into it. We're going to start by lighting your candle. So this is where you can set an intention about what you want to hear from this video, what you really want to get out of it. Yellow is a candle that really represents joy, acceleration. It does pertain to the solar plexus chakra, so it could be your inner power, right? And now we're just going to get into your tarot cards, some oracle, and then we'll pull additional oracle messages on camera. So the card all the way on the left is going to be talking about how your child feels unsupported. In the middle, it's going to be how you can nurture your inner child, and to the right, it's going to be what your inner child wants to thank you for. We're actually going to start first with this card up here, and this is just going to be the energy surrounding your inner child, okay? So right here we have this one. Okay. So in this card, I can see, especially with the, red around the crown chakra, that's kind of like spreading upward. It's like this feeling of hurt and pain, right? Especially because it's like sort of bloody in a way. Like it reminds me of blood, and blood reminds me of like, ow, pain, right? So growing up a lot, you could have had like a lot of headaches, and like thinking of your childhood could almost like subconsciously give you a headache because it just caused so much pain and confusion and blockage within your crown chakra. And in this card, I'm really seeing like, like you just felt like, you kind of had to put your head in the clouds sometimes, or like you're constantly running in cycles and just like false illusions, really trying to just get yourself out of the present moment. And so maybe in your adulthood you were someone, and not even adulthood, right? Like maybe you're in your teenage years or your adult years right now, and you're sort of reaping some effects from your inner child. So maybe you were the type of person, or still are, that sometimes would use forms of escapism because you wanted to get out of your head, you wanted to get out of these memories from the past. So this inner child is really just saying like, ow, ow. Now we're going to jump into, how your inner child is wounded. So we have Justice in reverse. And Justice is the card of fairness and legal matters. So in this card, for my pile number 1s, I'm picking up that maybe some of you had, to deal with like your parents' legal matters, whether it was them getting a divorce, or maybe even some of them ended up in like some sort of like, even like there was like a custody argument, which could cause headaches, or, maybe they got caught up in trouble with the law, and this kind of put a lot of pain and pressure on your head, right? Because as a child, you couldn't conceive, like, why are my parents getting in trouble? But for more of you, I'm picking up this would be my pile with some like divorced parents. That doesn't mean that your parents had to be divorced. It just means that for some of you, I feel like it caused a lot of what your pain is, right? Because it was like you felt unsupported because your parents were so busy, you know, arguing all the time and like arguing over maybe who had custody or who didn't have custody, and you know, trying to figure out their problems, where it kind of ignored you and got you caught up in this cycle of thinking of not feeling good enough. So this could lead you to feel like obviously unsupported, because this question was, how does your inner child feel unsupported? But this could lead you to have feelings that the world is not just and the world is not fair. Now, that doesn't mean that you always have these beliefs, because I feel like now, I don't know why, I'm picking up that you're kind of a hopeful person, right? You're going on a different path. You're embarking on a different journey where you're realizing that you don't want to carry this anymore. But this is the overall energy of your inner child, is just this feeling of unfairness, of unjustness, of why does it have to be the way it is? Why did I have to be born into this family and go through this pain? Now we're going to see how you can nurture your inner child. We'll get more in. So the Six of Pentacles. So the Six of Pentacles is, especially with so we have Six of Pentacles, which is about balance and giving and receiving. We also have Justice, which is about weighing the scales, Libra. So in the Six of Pentacles, how you can, like, you just need to bring justice into your life right now. Whether this is, you know, surrounding yourself with relationships that actually give and receive in balance, surrounding yourselves with jobs that give and receive in balance. And you want to be, you know, protective of your energy, because you don't want to cause this inflicted pain, right? You don't want to feel not good enough anymore. You don't want to feel like things are just angry and weird and that everybody has to be like the people you grew up around, right? So this is just a reminder, you know, like, also this could be like, you know, like this whole like inner parent, inner child dynamic. Wise inner parent is someone who needs to nurture your inner child. So maybe you just need to give more to your inner child, and then like your inner child needs to be open to receiving as well as giving back to your inner parent. And you know, these are certain ways that you could do this, whether this is like giving yourself that rest day, giving yourself that day off just to play video games or watch movies or create art and do things that you enjoyed doing as a child. And you know, maybe some of you didn't have the luxury of doing those kind of things as a child because you were so busy and your parents were so busy in arguing in legal matters that they couldn't actually give to you, right? So now this is just saying, to nurture your inner child, you need to give and receive in balance to yourself, as well as surround yourself with people who have this equal balance. You also give me very like humanitarian vibes, where it's like this whole childhood debate might have led you into sort of a career that's humanitarian, and you know, like maybe you work with like homeless people, and I don't know why that came out, or work with, you know, children that went through similar things as you, right? Like you're giving back. So allow yourself to receive from all of that too. Allow yourself to reap the benefits of actually paying it forward, right? And I know like this is not saying that you need to do things to receive, right? That is not the intention of why we give. But at the same time, when we're so blocked off as a child from receiving anything, and we're so used to, you know, feeling like things are unjust, sometimes we give too much of our energy and when we're in our adult years and forget to receive as well. So now we're going to see what your inner child wants to thank you for. Death. Okay. So yeah, I am picking up that you are embarking on a new path, right? Like you're someone that's spinning, like because of such your intense childhood pain, you're someone that is spinning the wheel to start over. Especially with me picking up, maybe some of you are in humanitarian efforts. This is also like, the Death card isn't scary because the Death card is indicating rebirth. As you can see, there's a sun on the horizon. All right, my pile number ones, my camera bugged out, but we are going to jump right back into it. So I can see that the sun is on the horizon, right? So this is indicating that permanent change is coming for you, that there is something optimistic about your future, about your near future even, for most of you, where it's just like there's this new life ahead of you. There's this new way of living for you. There's this new perspective and all of that. And especially I can see in the Death card is ruled by Scorpio. So you might be my pile that is intense overthinkers because you go into the depths of your own pain, but also the collective pain. And through this permanent change, you're not only impacting and changing your life, you're the type of pile that is going to make a ripple effect on humanity, and it's going to ripple out and change the collective as a whole. You know, whether this is changing the people around you just by seeing your new energy, this optimistic energy, or changing your family members and all of that. We're gonna see what angel messages are coming forth for you though. Let's see what angels have a message for my pile number ones. What angels have a message for my pile number ones? Okay, focus your mind. Let's see if there's any additional messages. Don't hate, meditate. Yeah. So I'm gonna see this is going to take a lot of focus and intention to actually change this feeling of injustice to justice, right? To fairness in your life. And this is going to take focusing your mind as well as meditating. You know, for some of you, take time out and meditate. Allow yourself to sit in silence and just be the observer of your thoughts, right? Because I feel like more than anything, this isn't saying don't hate others and don't judge others, but don't hate yourself. Don't put yourself on trial. Like with this Justice card, especially in reverse, there's that imbalance. And this imbalance, for me, what I'm picking up is sort of like you putting yourself on trial, right? This is my pile that, like I said, the overthinker, but also that might beat themselves up a lot about things they've done in the past or the world and all of that. And it's just like, sometimes it shows you can't get out of your head, but in order to not be able to get out of your head, like in order to get out of your head, you need to focus your mind and sort of shift your thoughts through observation and through intention. We're going to see the animal messages for you. See if any animals have messages for my pile number ones. If any animals have messages for my pile number ones. So you have the golden egg. Let's see if any additional messages are coming forth. And crocodile. All right, let's see what these animals have for you. I am going to read these out of the book for you. So it says golden egg, message of the center of the heart, the unstruck sound. Within the golden egg lives a precious sound. Deep within that sound resides a message. The sound cannot be heard nor the message discerned until we retreat from the noise of modern day life. The magical essence of the golden egg needs warmth, quiet, and time to unfold. No rushing, pushing, or grasping. Find a place of deep and restful ease, perhaps through yoga nidra or meditation. If you do not yet, once again, people, this is coming out about meditation. Make sure you're taking time to sit back and meditate. Meditate on your life. And I'm sorry about the dog barking in the background, if those of you can hear it, but I'm going to continue anyways. Meditate, you know, in those moments, you know, like our inner peace can be disturbed, right? And I feel like you are someone that needs to learn how to not have your inner peace disturbed through deep meditation. So it says, no rushing, pushing, or grasping. Find a place of deep and restful ease. Take some time for introspection or contemplation. When the mind begins to settle and the breath is calm, ask the question that weighs heaviest on your heart, staying open to any response you hear. Engaging with the energy of the golden egg is an advanced practice. It requires becoming intimate with our very essence and comfortable with vulnerability. When a feeling of tenderness of gratitude arises from deep within, know that you are well on your way. Your chest may swell like you are seeing an old friend that's been away for a long time. Listen to the message they've been waiting to tell you. So this is really indicating the fourth chakra. So this is the self or the soul. By bringing the mind into the center, we discover a portal to the most intimate and luminous space. It is that our inner guide sits there in deep meditation waiting for us. So Anahata, I think I might be pronouncing that wrong, but the heart chakra translates as the unstruck sound. So I feel like there's some sort of truth that you need to speak, whether this be to yourself or whether this be to another. But I feel like more than anything, this truth you need to speak to yourself first, right? And that is why your guides and your inner child and your ancestors and your family, like your soul family, are really telling you to sit in meditation and introspect and contemplate on how to go about speaking this truth, even to yourself, right? How to go about accepting all your feelings for what they are, because especially with the escapism, I feel like, you know, maybe you've ran from your feelings and your true feelings a lot and sort of suppressed them, and now is not the time to suppress them, right? Now let's see what the crocodile has for you. Resting, submerging, collecting energy, and cooling off. The crocodile reminds us to step back from the external world and turn inward. Now is not the time for decisions, actions, or discussion. The crocodile's mantra is wait. This does not mean lying around hoping life's challenges will disappear. The crocodile is much smarter than that. It means intentionally withdrawing, gathering our awareness, observing, and building energy. Fill up the vital reserve so your next move comes from a place of wisdom and power. Yes, and my pile number ones, you might have also been very impulsive in points of your life, and you still might be very impulsive, so this is why this message is coming through. It's like, now is not the time to be impulsive. Speaking your truth on these manners, speaking your truth and being just and fair. Being just and fair comes on respecting yourself and respecting others too, understanding that like you don't want to cause hurt and pain on others. And maybe that's something you put yourself on trial for in the past, is hurting others. So now it's just like your crocodile wants to make sure that you're not hot-headed at all, or, you know, you don't just go impulsively and make a decision, but really think about what do you want, focusing your mind and making sure that it's best for you. And let's see what your inner child wants to say to you. Let's see what your inner child wants to say. What does my pile number one's inner child want to say to them? What does my pile number one's inner child want to say to them? There we go. I do good. Yeah. So I do good. This card is really indicating that like you're doing good on the world. You're doing good on yourself, and you're just overall doing good, right? You're shifting that energy of life. You're shifting that energy of yourself, your life force, your feelings, your inner awareness, how you react to decisions. Overall, you're shifting. Let's see what else your inner child wants to say to you. What else does my pile number one's inner child want to say to them? I relate in peace. Yes. Okay, I relate in peace. You relate to yourself by bringing about peace within your own inner awareness, but also you relate to others in peace by making sure that you're delivering messages for the highest good of all. You know, because we don't always do that, but it is very important to think about others. We have to think about ourselves first, but also we don't want to cause harm on others. And I know I said this a couple times, but I feel like, you know, thinking back to your childhood, thinking back to a lot of our childhoods, our parents, you know, when they're in that constant conflict, they're not necessarily thinking about the most peaceful way to deliver messages, how, you know, someone else's inner emotions are going to be disturbed. And that's where your inner child is like, okay, because this happened to me, I don't want this to happen to other people. How can I change it? What can I do? We're going to get one more message too for what your inner child wants to say to you. It says, I achieve with integrity. Yeah, yes. You're very much changing into this mature person. This very mature, intuitive, overall like perceptive. I don't even know if perceptive is a word, but that whole shifting your perception, right? You're shifting into this maturity that you might have not had in the past with the impulsivity, right? But it's just like this overall growth from this death card is really showing within your life. Now let's see what your inner child has for you. Let's see what message your inner child, not your inner child, let's see the overall energy. Let's see the overall energy of your inner parent. The overall energy of your inner parent. See the overall energy of my pile number one's inner parent. What is the overall energy? Okay, so we have this interesting card. It looks like this person is on a boat, right? And then we have this underneath the water. Yeah, underneath the water, like this giant figure. And this is sort of saying, you know, your inner parent is there to support you along the wave of life is what I'm picking up. Your inner parent is there to guide your way. You know, because the way the wind blows, the way the waves blow, it takes you in different directions of life. And this card is indicating your inner child just like sitting there with awe and imagination and just like relaxing and sort of letting things take you. And I feel like your inner parent is saying, ride the wave for a little bit. Spend time, and this figure is sitting in like a meditative form, right? And it seems like they're like playing with energy the same way that playing with energy, playing with their focus, the same way that this angel card is playing with their focus, playing with their energy. So what I'm picking up from your inner parent is saying, sit back and play with your own inner energy field, right? Like play with your own emotions, your own feelings, your own awareness, and seeing where they're at in life, and then allowing that inner parent to guide the way and being receptive to letting the boat flow that way. So this card is really indicating, go with the flow of life, but take the measurable action to meditate, to focus your mind, to get in that very observant state so that you're making sure to nurture yourself in the highest way possible. Okay, my number ones, this is all I'm seeing for you. I hope you enjoyed your reading, and we will see you next time. Thank you. Bye. Hello, my pile number twos, and welcome to your pile. So we're just going to start by lighting the candle. So this is where you can set an intention of what you want to get out of this reading. And blue is really representation of, you know, water, calming, self-renewal, imagination, all of the good stuff. So we're going to get right into it, but over here on the left, we're going to have how your inner child feels unsupported. In the middle, it's going to be how you can nurture your inner child, and to the right, it's going to be what your inner child wants to thank you for. So let's start with the Oracle card. This is the how your inner child feels and the energy surrounding it. So as you can see, the energy I'm picking up from this card is your inner child was very guarded, right? Your inner child was very guarded and sort of put up a wall around yourself, as well as like you can see in the legs here with the body language. That's another indication of guarding because you're closing yourself off, right? You're intentionally closing yourself off. So you might have been the type of person who, you know, put up the walls and didn't let anybody in, or because of like your childhood and the experiences you had, you sort of had to do this. And it's like, you know, like also with the hands above the head, this is once again indicating imagination. So with the energy I'm picking up with this card, in addition to sort of the shadow side of it, I'm picking up like your imagination was like rampant as a child, and it could still be rampant, right? But you might have been the type of person who had a lot of like imaginary friends, a lot of like, you know, you surrounded yourself with those like mystical creatures. You're someone that was reaching up to heavens, but on the physical plane, you know, you were very guarded in your shell. You know, even sometimes if you appeared to be a very open person, it was like those deep wounds that sat with you that like sort of put up a wall. So even like in your like older years, right? Like the years you're in now, or maybe the past few years, you might have been someone that didn't let like friendships in, where, you know, you didn't have necessarily an open heart to allow things to come through. But right now we're going to get into the tarot cards for some farther clarification. This is once again how your inner child feels unsupported. So with Five of Swords, we can definitely see a lot of conflict, right? So maybe the conflict is what had you put up your guards. Maybe, you know, your parents, or, you know, your parent and your step parent, you know, your parent and your siblings constantly fought, or maybe even they fought with you and argued, and you know, that sort of put you in a bubble where it's like it was that defense mechanism of protection. Because in the Five of Swords, I can see that like your inner child feels unsupported because your childhood was very defeating of yourself. You know, although you had this very imaginative, like imagination, like strong imagination, you still feel defeated a lot of times. And that's why I feel like you surrounded yourself with, like, I don't know why imaginary friends keep coming through, but those imaginary friends were what were your protectors, right? They were your escape, they were your friends, and that's where you felt good, right? But how you feel unsupported is definitely in life you feel defeated a lot. You know, like you might just have constantly got argument, and in the Swords too, I can see that this is something that maybe you didn't feel heard in your opinion. Like maybe you tried to like voice how you felt to your parents or to your siblings or to your guardians, and they sort of like brushed you off, where they're like, it doesn't matter, or that's not important right now, I don't have time for that, all of those things. And that sort of just left you feeling like shit, like honestly like shit, right? Like when you're not heard in life for your opinions, you grow up. And you know, that's why like maybe you have very trouble like communicating, or in the past you had trouble communicating your feelings and your emotions, and you might even have trouble feeling and communicating your emotions to yourself, feeling and communicating your mental distresses to yourself, because you kind of tell yourself like, oh, that doesn't matter, that's not important right now, right? It's like that head in the sky sort of thing. We're gonna see how you can nurture this, how you can nurture your inner child. Eight of Cups. Okay, so Eight of Cups, like, as you can see, this person is walking towards the mountains, right? So how you can nurture yourself is through letting go and sort of walking away from this feeling of being defeated, walking away from these patterns or autonomous habits of not lying to yourself, but not necessarily like telling yourself your emotions, not necessarily, you know, communicating your feelings to loved ones or to relationships, and the shadow side of closing yourself off, right? Like how you can nurture right now is to walk away and to climb over these obstacles. You can see she's headed towards the mountains. They're headed towards the mountains, and mountains are very symbolic of like obstacles, right? Because you have to climb up it to reach the tops. But this is telling yourself, like, you know, like allow yourself and nurture yourself to overcome these obstacles from your childhood. We're going to see what your inner child wants to thank you for. Four of Wands. Yeah. Okay, so let me pick up the energy from here. Okay, with the Four of Wands, I'm seeing your inner child wants to thank you for putting up the guard. But what it's saying, like your wise inner parent, right, that dynamic is telling you don't have to put up the walls anymore. And now is the time in your life where you are creating that stable foundation. The Four of Wands upright is really all about that stable foundation, right? We have people getting married here, you know? So it's creating that home. But with you, I can see that like your inner child wants to thank you for putting up those walls, right? And also with the Four of Wands, it also is representation of like moving, new home, and all of that. But with it in reverse, it's indicating that like, you know, putting up those walls were like your home. That was your safety zone. So right now, your wise inner parent is calling on you to let go, walk away from this feeling of defeated, walk away from like putting up the walls, because now it's time to build that stable foundation. It's time to feel safe in your own skin and in your own environment, right? And if you're someone that still lives with like very toxic, you know, because the Four of Wands could really indicate right now that maybe you still live in this toxic environment. So maybe the walking away is indicating like going out, physically going out in nature. And I know for a lot of us right now, like it is winter, so you can't necessarily get out and do what you can, but maybe this means, you know, going on a car ride once in a while, or going on a car ride and sitting in your car and just getting away and staring at the water, staring at the mountains, staring at the scenery around you, so that you can have a subtle time away from whatever toxic energy is still surrounding you, right? But this inner child really wants to thank you for, you know, getting through, right? Because your imagination is what got you through. So this is like really indicating, do not feel defeated in your present day. Do not feel defeated from your past, but continue using what was good from your childhood, which was really heavily coming through as your imagination, right? Especially with this blue, and the blue candle and the blue imagery. So keep using that imagination. Like maybe like imagine where you do want to walk away to. Where do you want, like, what do you want your home to look like? What color sheets are you going to have? You know, how is your energy going to feel? Who do you live with? You know, if you are someone that really wants to move or get out of your situation, start imagining that up, right? It's like that visualization, that manifestation. Now we're going to get some farther messages. We're going to get some messages from the angels, some messages from your angels. See what angels have a message for your inner child. What angels have a message. See what angels have a message from your inner child. What angels? There we go. Spiritual support. Dear angels, I allow you to support me as I grow to become more spiritually aware. Get another message. Okay. This one card. There we go. The Divine Physician. Okay, so with spiritual support and the Divine Physician, dear angels, I allow you to support me as I grow to become more spiritually aware. And then thank you, Raphael, for shining your divine light upon my healthy body. Also, with this indication, you know, like, I don't know why this is coming through right now, but remember, take what resonates and leave what doesn't, because I feel like this is for only a specific few. You might be someone that puts your guard up, you know, by indulging in like a lot of food and escaping through means of food. And that is no way is bad. It's a defense mechanism, right? It's that way to feel guarded, to feel supported. But that could also lead you to, you know, feeling unstable in your own body and in your own being. And with all of this, it's saying that, like, you know, allow divine light to shine upon your healthy body. You might be in like a perpetual cycle of this whole eating dynamic of escaping through food, right? And having it be your own comfort. But this is saying that there's support in other ways, right? Dear angels, I allow you to support me as I grow to become more spiritually aware. So that is a message for very few of you. But in addition to this, you know, it's just reminding yourself that you are supported through all this. You are supported through becoming more aware of your situation, more aware of your inner child, you know, using your imagination. And now let's get in some more. Let's see what your inner child wants to tell you. What does your inner child want to tell my pile number 2s? What does my inner... Okay, I honor animals with reverence. And then, let's see if they have anything else they want to tell you. Anything else in my pile number? Okay, let's see. There we go. Okay. And I hold purity in high esteem. Okay, so with I honor animals in reverence right here, maybe these imaginary friends of yours were animals, or maybe that you genuinely had like an animal in your home, right? Like some sort of spirit animal, some sort of pet that sort of was your protector. One of those only people that you let your guard down around. But continue to honor animals with reverence, right? Because animals are very healing. So it's like maybe you've been interested in getting a pet and you have the means for it, you have the means to support them. This might be your indication to get that animal, right? Because animals are very therapeutic, and as animals can be very therapeutic to us, we can also be very therapeutic to them, and they have a lot to teach us about life and about spiritual support. As well as I hold purity and highest esteem self-esteem. Just this is reminding yourself to purify your body, purify your energy, and come back to yourself, right? Creating that home within and holding that at high esteem, having your home be within your own body. As a child, you know, I can tell that maybe at home you didn't feel at home, right? Like you wanted to, right? We already talked about this, how you put your guard up, how you put your own walls up and protected you. And although that is good right now, it's saying that like create your own home within yourself of a healthy environment, a safe like environment for you to be in. Whether this is what you put in your body, what you speak to your mind, what you consume, right? How you're protecting your energy. Are you walking away in the moments of feeling defeated, you know? And not even feeling defeated where it's like this whole like winner loser mentality, but walking away from strong boundaries, from knowing that you should walk away. We're just gonna see what animals have a message for you. See what animals. What animals have a message for my pile number 2s? What animals have a message for my pile number 2s? What animals? Okay, vulture. Once again, vultures are indication of purification. So I can see that your inner child really wants you to purify something in your life, whether this is a toxic home environment or a toxic habit. The vulture is coming out to say, like, it's time to purify that from your life, right? It's time to purify that negative energy, that negative vulture energy that keeps eating essentially at your inner child, right? At those inner habits. And let's see if there's any deer. Okay, I'm gonna read the deer from the book. But what I'm picking up from the energy of it is just that, you know, keep in mind your playfulness and your innocence and your imagination from childhood, right? Because this playfulness and this imagination is one of those characteristics that you've carried throughout your entire life, that at sometimes you forget that at the end of the day, it helps you. It helps you immensely. It helps you immensely with feeling that home within your body. Loving, intuitive, graceful, and the mother are the qualities of the deer. Sorry about that, pile number 2. My camera died, but we are going to read the message from the deer. And the message from the book says, loving, intuitive, graceful, the mother. The deer represents the feminine aspects of earth energy. This energy is available to all creatures regardless of gender, but it is especially potent in new parents. During the first few days, they are fully present, nurturing, and calm. Their inner beauty radiates and a sense of grace calms the room. A deer personality affects others in this way, drawing them towards a quiet tenderness. The deer card may appear when a birth or celebration of new life draws near, or when a situation calls for absolute gentleness and compassion. So in seeing this, I can definitely see, like, for your inner child, this is more pertaining to the gentleness. Because as I said, for some of you, I feel like you have a means of escape, and with escapism of whatever sorts, it's sort of like repressing down your memory. And this is why your inner child was very guarded as a child, to protect you from those disturbing childhood memories. But right now, it's important to purify your body and purify your emotions and your mental health and all of that, so you can actually allow these messages and these memories to come through when they're ready, so you can have a deep understanding of yourself, right? And you have to know that although whatever these disturbing memories that you blocked out from your childhood are, you're supported. You're out of that situation, right? You're no longer that child. Although you carry that inner child within you, you are no longer that child. You are more into that wise inner parent. That is where you need to be gentle, right? This deer card says something about a new parent, but that is really just talking about the wise inner parent that you are. Or maybe some of you are new parents, right? And maybe that you feel you're kind of scared about being a parent because of how your childhood was. But this is just saying, be gentle on yourself. Be gentle and willing to be open to what it is, the messages that you need to hear, the memories that you need to see, and all of that. Now we're going to get sort of the energy surrounding your inner parent, because we got one of your inner child, and now we just want to see the energy surrounding your wise inner parent. What is the energy surrounding my pile number 2's wise inner parent? Okay. So we have this card. And it's kind of like the disturbed memories that I was talking about. Like, the way that I'm interpreting this card is this is like the disturbing memories right there in the middle. I don't know if you can see that. It's like something is screaming to be seen. Something is screaming to be seen, but for some reason you're running far away from it. You're running as fast as possible in these loops and in these cycles to avoid that gnawing that's calling towards you. It's just like, sometimes we need to walk, going back to the whole walking away, sometimes we need to walk away in order to understand, in order to see. So maybe now is not the time for you to listen, to see, to hear, but maybe the time is now, right? This is very like intuitive, feeling it out on what you are ready for, and you will know when the time is ready, right? Because that is when you will be shown, that is when you will be guided. But overall, like, the messages that are coming through to you is like, take time away, right? Take time away to, use your imagination in a positive sense. Use your imagination to build up the future you want. Use your imagination as well as taking care of yourself, right? Taking care of yourself mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, and allowing yourself to hold yourself in high regards, right? See yourself for your truth. See your inner child and your wise inner parent in a loving manner, in a loving light. And it's not all rainbows and sunshines, and that's not what I'm saying, but it's just like, right now, your inner child is being called to be like both heard and seen. It's like this, there was this overall like neglect. There was this neglect from like people in your family, whether this be parents or siblings or both or guardians, and that's why you didn't have these neglect from like certain animals or imaginary friends. But it's like, now you're going back into the physical realms and the human realms where it's like, not everyone in your life is going to neglect you, but most importantly, you can't neglect yourself. You can't neglect what needs to be felt, right? So this message is just a gentle reminder to allow yourself to feel and see when you are ready, while also taking what you need and having strong boundaries, right? Especially like walking away from certain old situations that might resemble your childhood, or taking time away in the car like we talked about. But most importantly, just being gentle with yourself. Okay, pile number 2, this is all that I have for you, and we'll see you next time. Hello, my pile number 3s, and welcome to your reading. So just to start the reading, I'm going to light the green candle. So just set your intentions of what you want to get out of this reading. Green is really the color of the heart chakra. It's the color of renewal, rebirth. And so we're just going to jump right into your reading. So the cards, you actually had 2 cards come out for how your inner child feels unsupported. And then this card is going to be how you can nurture your inner child. And this card to the right is going to be what your inner child wants to thank you for, okay? And then this oracle card is just going to be the overall energy around your inner child. Then we're going to pull some additional oracle cards on screen for some farther in-depth messages. Let's go ahead and start with your oracle. So you have this interesting card where what I'm picking up from this is that, like, you felt like you were not seen, right? Like there is this sort of bushel guarding you, to reach up into this gray area, and you're just not seen, you're not being reached, you're not being touched down here, right? You're even reaching out. This is like your inner child, right? You're even reaching out to your inner parent, and it's like sometimes you're not even being receptive to your own self and seeing your own self for who you are. And that's really the overall energy around your inner child, is just this feeling of not being seen, right? This feeling of nobody is here to help. Like, as you can see, there's all these hands reaching up and no one's reaching back down to grab them and offer a helping hand. And we have the same imagery here, reaching out to this illuminated figure. So I can see from your inner child that you just feel very unseen, and it's kind of like has like a bushel between you, this guard or protection. And I can see though, like, you are grounding, because it's like your energy, although like you've never been seen, it's like maybe as a child, like nature was something that was really helpful for you, because as you can see, it's like you're placed against a tree, and right, roots go down and then they go up. So it's like you sort of have this imagery here where it's like sometimes nature is what was able to see you. Let's go ahead and get into your tarot cards. So how you feel unsupported is you have the Star in reverse, and then you also have the Five of Cups. Okay, so for the energy of how you feel unsupported, my pile number threes, with the Star and Cup, like how I was saying, you felt like there was nowhere to reach you. At times there was no hope for your inner child, right? You felt very hopeless. You felt like there was no one there to listen to you, and that made you afraid. Afraid of the world, and afraid of, essentially maybe afraid of people in a way, afraid of people, and have this like preconceiving notion that everybody is out to get you. Especially with the Star card in reversed, I can see that it's sort of that loss of hope, that loss of faith in humanity, right? That loss of hope that, you know, you're able to, because when we have the Star card upright, it's complete renewal, and we actually have a green candle, which is representation of renewal. So it's like, as a child, I feel like maybe there was times in going into like middle school that you were one of those people that really wanted to give up hope on yourself, wanted to give up hope on the world, and you just didn't want to be here anymore. And I can see that maybe even at times you still struggle with these feelings, or they're still very prevalent in your life. But this is saying that, like, you know, with the Five of Cups, you're looking at the cups that are knocked over, looking at the people and the situations that have spilled out, and, you know, focusing on that energy is not going to bring you renewal. But if you turn around and shift your perspective, you have right here two cups that are full. The cups are reminding me of the hands, right? Although that there is no one reaching out and helping and grabbing these hands, I'm seeing here that it's just, you haven't reached in the right places, right? And maybe this, now you're understanding how to, but as a child in particular, you didn't know how to reach out. You didn't know who to seek guidance from. You didn't know who to share your emotional distress with, essentially. Let's go how you can nurture your inner child. So we have the King of Wands. So yes, because of all of this, energy, like, you know, like, this is very much dishonest energy, right? The King of Wands. So nurturing your energy right now is just saying being honest with yourself about what you need to do. The Kings are very representation of action. So I'm seeing for my pile number threes, maybe like you have been thinking about going to therapy, or seeking out help of some sort, but you've been very hesitant because it's like in the past, it's like you didn't have someone that was receptive on the other side. This is saying that like not everyone is going to be dishonest with you, and you cannot be dishonest with yourself about what you need. You need to take strong, because Kings are the most mature of the suits, right? They've come the farthest, they're at the end of their journey. And this is saying you need to be honest and be authoritative on what it is that you need to do, and that is how you are going to nurture yourself. And for most of you, I'm seeing that it's going to be some sort of help that you're seeking. Maybe for others, it's not help, but it's like opening up to that new friendship, right? Opening up that heart chakra, opening up to a sibling that, you know, went through a similar thing with you, that you've always felt like wasn't really there, but maybe they're the same way. Maybe they felt too like they were this figure. And because you were both so consumed by the fact no one was reaching out, you couldn't actually offer support to each other. Whereas now I'm seeing maybe there is time for support to be offered, right? Let's go ahead and see on the advice, or what your inner child wants to thank you for. So the Queen of Pentacles, So in the Queen of Pentacles, I can really see like distrust. But this is saying that like your inner child wants to thank you for not necessarily trusting everybody along the way, because sometimes when we have these deep wounds, we sort of, and I feel like for some of you, you did go through a lot of lessons where it's like, you got involved with the wrong people or the wrong crowd that sort of got you in trouble. But because of this distrust in people, you've kind of kept yourself out of trouble in a way. So it's like your guides and your inner child really want to thank you for, you know, in a way having that protection, because it's like you built that it's like a guard, right? Like the vision that keeps coming in my mind is like, okay, like a warrior with like a shield up, right? And it's not like you had complete tunnel vision throughout your life, but you were just guarded, you know? And I feel like you were guarded for the right reasons. But now it's saying, okay, it's a lot like with the heart chakra, and to go about life in a state of renewal, you kind of need to reopen that heart chakra. But in order to do that, like, you need to use discernment on, if you're going to seek help, taking authority off your life, like what you need to do to reopen that heart chakra and to make sure that you're having help now. Make sure that you're trusting in yourself and being honest in yourself about what it is that you need in life. Now we're going to get into some of your oracle cards. We're going to see what angels have a message for you. What angels have a message for my pile number 3s? What angel? Okay. It says express your creativity. Let's see if there's any additional messages. This one wants to come up. And the miracle of nature. Okay, yeah. And I feel like some of you, maybe therapy is not for you, but different alternatives to therapy is. So like with express your creativity, I don't know why this is coming out, but maybe like art therapy would be something for you to transmute emotions without actually having to necessarily open up right away in this vulnerable state that you're not used to. It's sort of like inching your way up, right? Inching your way up in a new way. And even if like, you know, your modality isn't to go seek physical help, maybe it's time to spend that miracle of nature, right? We talked about that with the tree and how nature makes you feel supported. So maybe what you need to do for the state of renewal, because nature also is very representation of the color green, is spend more time in nature. Maybe take your sketchbook, take your paint, take your tools and your mediums out into nature and just transmute your energy when you're feeling kind of that hopelessness, when you're starting to feel that hopelessness again. Let's just see what your inner child wants to say to you. What does pile number 3's inner child want to say to them? What does pile number 3's inner child want to say to them? I respect the property of others. What does pile number 3 want to say to them? I remain in balance with my emotions. Okay, in terms of I respect the property of others, I feel like this is really indicating like, you know, like this is where the whole discernment of reaching out comes into like retrospect, where it's like sometimes people don't have the physical capacity to hold emotions for you. So maybe there's been friendships throughout your life where you've tried to confide in, or siblings, or, you know, partners of relationships, or your parents, and they sort of brush you off. And I don't think it's because they don't want to offer a reaching hand. Maybe sometimes yes, but more so because they have their own emotions going on where they don't have full capacity to hold for you. So I feel like more in terms of not the property, it's more of this emotional thing that's going on, because we also have I remain in balance with my emotions. So your inner child is really trying to balance out your emotions in a healthy retrospect, and start to have that like healthy balance, that healthy renewal. Renewal is the word that definitely, sorry, that was my cat. Renewal is definitely that word that is coming out most for my pile number 3's, is this like rejuvenation of yourself, right? This recreation, this rebirth is what's trying to happen, right? Your roots are trying to root so that you can grow, like with this tree imagery. And it's just like, the foundation of this is not stable, but the foundation of your true core is. So it's just like finding a way that can root you, right? Whatever that may be for you. And let's get some animal messages. What animals have a message for my pile number 3's? Okay, we have vultures. So there's definitely some purification of energy that needs to happen. And then a hyena. I'm actually going to read these both from the book for you. 1 second. Okay. Vulture is guardian and purifier, essential for rebalance. This is once again talking about remaining in balance with your emotions, right? And that's why I'm really seeing it's like, because you know, it's like you venture in between like feeling hopelessness and feeling hopeful. And it's just this constant state of extremes that is sort of driving you some distress, driving you some emotional like chaos and turmoil. But the vulture says, the vulture is perhaps the most misunderstood creature of all. This intriguing bird balances our ecosystem and prevents the spread of disease. It does the dirty work that no one else wants to do and cleans up our messes. The vulture appears when there's a situation that needs to be purified or brought back into balance. Remember, the vulture is greatly undervalued. What you thought was a mistake or a tragedy is actually a blessing in disguise. So this kind of reminds me of what I was talking about earlier, where it's like this guard, and like it actually says a vulture is a guardian, right? It's like your inner child, and that childlike aspect of yourself was actually a guardian throughout your life. And you know, maybe you had trouble making friends, but this is saying that like there was a reason for that. Okay, my pile number 3s, I'm sorry about that, my camera died, but we're gonna get back into the messages. We're now gonna see what the hyena message has for you. The hyena. 1 second. The hyena says humor, wit, and sarcasm. The hyena personality is a jokester and crowd pleaser, but below the surface there are unfulfilled dreams to be realized. When the hyena card appears, it's time to reflect on your reliance and sarcasm and humor to express your truth. Are you using jokes to hold old resentments in relationships or to mask things that you feel uncomfortable discussing? What would happen if you took your goals seriously? So in saying this, like too, like maybe throughout your life, you know, in your relationships and stuff, maybe your guard was humor and sarcasm, person that like jokes about your trauma and jokes about what happened to you as a child, or just, you know, like that's your coping mechanism. And you know what, like it's not a bad coping mechanism, right? Like we all cope differently, but really what this is saying is that like, you know, like you want to make sure that you're not completely putting up like a facade and guarding yourself all the time, and like you want to unravel. Okay, I'm actually going to pull another angel message for you because I feel another angel message. What angel has a message for my pile number 3s? What angel? What angel has a message for my pile number 3s? What angel? What angel has a message for my pile number 3s? Leap of faith. I'm ready to leap, angels. Thank you for doing it with me. So this is indicating like you are supported along your journey, right? You're supported through your endeavors, whether this is seeking some sort of form of therapy, some sort of form of healing, as well as like a leap of faith to trust, to start trusting in yourself, to open up that heart chakra, to rebirth and rejuvenate your energy. And we're going to see what your inner parent, right? Like your inner parent is that wise part of yourself that, you know, it's not a parent figure as in like one of your actual parents, but the parent figure within you, right? Like you might hear sayings a lot like mother yourself or father yourself, right? That like king energy is very father energy, as whereas that queen is very motherly too. And this isn't even like gendered, but more of like energies, right? Like that feminine energy is slowing down, and that masculine energy is very action oriented, being decisive and authoritative. But we're going to see what your inner parent has for you, what the energy surrounding your inner parent looks like. What is the energy surrounding my pile number 3's inner parent? What is the energy surrounding my pile number 3's inner parent? What is the energy surrounding my pile number 3's inner parents? Okay. What is the energy surrounding? Okay, you got a couple there. We just want one, just one. For the energy surrounding my pile number 3's inner parent. The energy surrounding my pile number 3's inner parents. Give me 1 second. Okay, so this is the card I'm seeing, like the energy I'm seeing with this is once again like it's this depiction of nature, right? Except this time, like instead of sitting at the bottom of a tree, you're sitting at the top of a mountain, right, with the sun and the illumination in the background. So this is definitely showing progress between your inner parent and your inner child, but is once again like strengthening that notion that like miracle, like the miracle of nature, right? Like how much nature can actually rejuvenate your energy if you just sit out there. So this is kind of telling me like your inner parent is very reflective and very insightful. And this is what your inner child really wants you to call upon, is this reflective and insightful part of yourself. You know, because especially if you were someone who growing up sort of like isolated yourself, I can see like maybe at times you would isolate yourselves. Especially with that whole like guard up thing, it actually made you be very observant of your surroundings. But this is saying like observe to enlighten, right? Like observe about what you need to be honest with yourself about, what you need to be honest about doing, right? Take some time for that inner parent to reflect what would be best for your inner child. So this is really all about renewal, right? And doing what is best for you, doing what is best for that inner child, and having like that like authoritarian like strength and courage and bravery to go after it, right? Like don't be dishonest with yourself about what it is that you need to do and the steps you need to take to heal, right? What things need to be purged from your life, what emotions and need to be transmuted to be balanced, right? Just take that leap of faith within yourself and that renewal of hope, because at the end, the other end is like someone reaching out, that helping hand. You know, you don't have to do it alone. You don't have to heal alone. And a lot of the times, you know, it's easy in life to believe and have that speculation that like you do and that you are all alone. But whether this support is from like your spirit guides or your spirit family or an actual person, a human guide, you know, that could be in the form of many different things, reach out for that help, because you're not that child anymore that is reaching out, that doesn't even know what you're reaching out for. It's this, you know, illumination of what you actually need to reach out for, right? And I think that's the biggest difference between your inner child and your inner parent and where you are right now in your life. This is all I am seeing for my pile number 3s. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.